In a takted system, you research the drawings and then you create your desired flow, and then you literally go through and you break it out into zones. What you will do is you will pull plan your first zone, and that pull plan is your sequence. If you're doing that pull plan based off of quantities and production rates, you're going to have a really killer sequence. Then the key is to level that sequence. So I'm using this little example of leveling here, or this, whichever visual you like. Basically, we're taking non-rhythmic processed work and actually leveling it out into different takt wagons by zone to where it's leveled and on a rhythm. That's the next process. And then those pull plans become your takt phase. So literally you see this sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are literally just leveled pull plans stacked on top of each other. Normally in the industry, people teach pull planning and they're like, hey, here's level 2. All right, we're going to go pull plan level 2. Great. No, that's batching. You're going to go slow that way. Just like this little visual down here, if you batch large areas, it takes longer than if you break them down into zones. In the industry, people are like, yeah, we love pull planning. I love it. And I love pull planning too, but we should have broken it up into zones first and pull planned just that first representative area. So when you look at a takt plan, what you're really looking at are multiple pull plans stacked on top of each other on a rhythm. Now, how do you know you have the right zone breakdown? This is the key. What we do is we get to optimize it. What that means is that we get to see what are the ideal number of zones. Real quick, I'm going to go over here to LeanTakt, and I'm going to go down here at the bottom, and I'm going to download this killer free template. Okay, I have this template. I'm going to my downloads. I'm going to pull this up. This is the takt template. This is all free. Anything with us, just remember this phrase: looking's free, touching's going to cost you, right? So like, it will give you all the information that you want. If you need help, that's when we have to pay our bills, right? This optimization right here is great. So let's say that you had zone sizes of like 8,000 square feet. That means that if you had 8 takt wagons in your pull plan sequence and you had 5 zones that was going to be repeated on at a takt time of 5, you would finish in 60 days with 0 extra days per trade partner at 8,000 square foot per area. But if you were like, I want to go faster, look at what happens when you go to 7 zones. That means if you went 7 zones, takt time of 4, you would finish in 56 days and you would have 3 extra days per trade partner, but your zone size would be smaller. But what if you went to 9? You would finish in 48 days with 2 extra days per trade partner at a zone size basically 4,500. So what we do here, once you have a pull plan sequence, and nobody else does this to my knowledge, and in our industry we have to fix this, is we can say to the project team, what's the minimum square foot that you would deal with on this job? And they would be like, oh, yeah, probably 1,500 square feet. Then we would go to trade time gains. And we'd be like, how much more time do you want each trade partner to have? And they'd be like, well, we don't want too much trade. They'll charge us extra GCs, probably no more than 7. Like, we don't want to do more than 7. So that blocks out those 2 options. Okay. And then we would say, okay, now what about your duration? Obviously, we signed up for 60 days with the trade partners, so we can't do those top options, and we can't do 65. And we probably don't want to just do the same thing as we had before. So now we have some smaller options. What about your durations? Okay, yeah, we want something better than 60. Okay, what about your takt time? Maybe they're like, well, I could get them on a takt time of 3 days, but probably not 2. So we'll get rid of those. Now you have 4 options that you can choose from, and you can decide what's most important for you. Is it more important to me to have a higher duration or longer duration with more trade and a higher square footage, or can I get that square footage down, only give our trades 2 extra days and get our schedule down to 48 days? If you want to know more about this, come to the training. But let's just say, for instance, that you were like, hey, we as a team decided 8 takt wagons, 9 zones. You go in here to your calculator and you go ahead and click on 9. This is the original sequence that we pull planned, and those are just pull plans stacked on top of each other. But if we took the same amount of work and broke it up into 9 zones, we gain 12 days. You can use those days for buffers. You can deliver the project early. You can do all kinds of things. And guess what? If somebody's like, well, we just screwed our trade partners out of time. Well, let's look at it. Let's look at these up here. So that's 25 days. Oh, whoa, what's that? That trade partner gets 2 extra days down here. So cool. So you do not screw the trade partners out of time. You would sometimes give them more. You have a faster overall phase. You get done faster. You have less GCs. You have more coordination, more flow. And when somebody's like, you stopped the line, which is a valid question, I'm like, yeah, bro, if I only have to stop this 2 or 3 days, I'm still 8 days ahead. That's 8 labor days of saving. The trade partner and the overall contractor will still make more money. If those workers just sat there and did nothing, you would still make more money in a takted system versus traditional scheduling, because we've gained buffers and we've optimized the sequence and we're going faster and we're going the same speed, the same distance apart. So yes, my answer is I have no problem with them working on workable backlog, stopping and doing nothing, or doing what Scott said, pull the wagon out, or actually pulling that room or that area out of the zone. I have no problem with that. When you're looking at takt planning, a lot of different people have probably seen SIPs, block scheduling, takt planning, things like that. Probably seen those things, but have you seen it to where you can actually optimize the sequence and really level and get the right amount of zones so that you can gain buffers and go into a consistent sequence? It doesn't happen that often.